Hello, welcome to another museum moment. My name is Ellie Gettinger. I'm the education director at Jewish Museum Milwaukee. And this Thursday night, we are starting the holiday of Hanukkah. And you can see I'm ready for it. I'm all ready to go for my Hanukkah celebration. And I wanted to spend some time today thinking about what Hanukkah is all about. So I invited Rabbi Toba Schaller to come and talk to us about Hanukkah. She is the rabbi at the Milwaukee Jewish Day School. And so she's probably spent a lot of time preparing students for this. Can you now prepare our broader Milwaukee community for Hanukkah? As they say in Passover, what is this all about?
So my version today will be a little different than what I teach because this year I'm mostly teaching kindergarten classes. So I'll aim for a little above kindergarten level, but I'll try. It's not my natural. I speak kindergarten. So what is this holiday all about? It's actually about two stories sort of put together. There's two pieces to what we celebrate at Hanukkah. The first thing we celebrate is a war. And we're not celebrating the war, obviously. We're commemorating the war and celebrating the win of a war. So, and we're celebrating the war, the Maccabean Revolt. So the Jews in Judea are under Assyrian rule. A new ruler comes to power and is not as kind as his father before him, Antiochus IV, not as generous as the third, and doesn't want other religions being practiced, and starts mandating worship of Greek gods and idols and outlawing Jewish practice. And the Jews are not happy with this, led by the Maccabees. Judah Maccabee is our hero of the story. And Judah Maccabee leads a revolt against the Seleucid rule of the time, against Antiochus IV. And they put all out guerrilla warfare. They are the little army against the big Assyrian trained army, and they win. And that is the first thing that we celebrate at Hanukkah, that the little guy won against the big oppressive forces, that God was on our side, that Judaism won out over idolatry. The second thing, the one that I highlight much more with my kindergartners, is that one of the things that the Assyrians did during this war was to desecrate the temple in Jerusalem, the holiest place for Jews. And they don't just destroy it, but they really desecrate it. So they're butchering pigs in it and putting up big idols. And so after the war is over, the Maccabees and their followers come in to clean up the temple. And they spend some time cleaning it up, and it becomes time to rededicate the temple, to put it back into service, to thank God. And in order to do that, they need to light the eternal lights, the menorahs, not to be confused with the Hanukkah, but the menorahs.
We'll talk about that difference in a second. Hold on to that, everyone. Menorahs versus Hanukkahs.
So they want to light the menorahs, like eternal lights that we have at synagogues now. They wanted to light the light, and there was only enough oil to light the light for really just one day. And it would take much more time than that to get a new supply of oil. And so the great miracle that we celebrate with oil at Hanukkah is that tiny bit of oil lasted for 8 nights until more oil could be procured to keep the candles lit. So
I feel like in the age of pandemic, that feeling of waiting for something to come, or waiting is something we're all there, or I think about our toilet paper situation in the spring, right, that we're all very attuned to that issue in a way that probably
last. You got to make it last.
Mm-hmm. So we celebrate this holiday, and in terms of the pantheon of Jewish holidays, this is not, I think one of the challenges of talking about Hanukkah is comparatively, it's a fairly minor holiday, but in American popular imagination, it's kind of been built up to the point that I can buy a Hanukkah sweater at Target. I don't have a Rosh Hashanah sweater, but I have a Hanukkah
Oh,
sweater.
no Yom Kippur?
No Yom Kippur dress, no.
So I will say I was really excited when you asked me to talk about Hanukkah, because I have had such a up and down love-hate relationship with Hanukkah over the course of my life. And one of the reasons is this. I grew up in small town Texas, where my family was often the only Jewish family. And inevitably, every year at Hanukkah, there would be like the Christmas around the world. Here's how Jews do Christmas. And the sort of feeling that Hanukkah is a beautiful, meaningful, lovely holiday in its own right. It doesn't need to be all smushed together with Christmas. And that has been a pet peeve of mine at many points in my life. And the commercialism is also not my favorite part. You could understand the Maccabees as heroes, but you could also understand them as religious extremists. And I'm not sure how the Maccabees would feel, the anti-assimilationist Maccabees would feel about me as a person and my beautiful fashions and such. But those things aside, I love that Hanukkah, and especially this year, I love the sparkle. I love the glow. I love the light. I love the warm fire and candles during cold, dark Northern Hemisphere winter. I love the symbolism of putting light out into the world, of celebrating our heroes, of celebrating people that stand up for what they believe in. And to me, that makes Hanukkah all the more exciting this year, that in a year that feels kind of dark. We're ready. We deserve some light.
We need the light. So let's talk a little bit about just those kind of basics. You said, they were lighting menorahs, not Hanukkahs. So what's the difference, Rabbi?
So a Hanukkah specifically has 8 candles and 1 shamash. So 8 candles that are basically on the same level and 1 that is separate and different. And that's what makes it a Hanukkah. It's like a rectangle and a square. A Hanukkah is a menorah, but a menorah isn't necessarily a Hanukkah. So
a menorah generally has 6 candles.
So that's what you can see in the synagogue. And there are also Christian versions that people in the Christian community call a menorah that have different numbers. But in a synagogue, the replicas of the ones we have at the temple have 6, and the Hanukkah has 8 plus the set apart.
And the 8 is important to the Hanukkah because each night we're lighting another candle. Now, this is always the tricky piece that I every year have to look up. Do you start lighting from the left or the right? And which way do you fill your menorah? I've never remember this correctly.
Now I'm all of a sudden paranoid that I'm getting it
okay. If it's wrong, guys, then you can
edit
look
it
on
out.
Google too.
So left to right, you add the candles. And there's a big debate long back in our tradition about, do you start
with for everything
and go down? It's a Hillel and Shammai debate. They are from Talmud classic, represent 2 different schools and philosophies of thought, and their discussions and debates are preserved in our texts. And they have a Hanukkah debate. Do you light 8 candles the first night and down 1 every night? Or do you light 1 the first night and 2 the second? And the idea is that the light should grow. And so we should.
Of course, it's Hillel who says that, because we always take Hillel's side.
We do. He tended to be more gentle,
which I think we also need right now. So this year, are there things that you are doing? I think in general, there's kind of traditions around Hanukkah parties, and synagogues do lots of Hanukkah gatherings. I know in a normal year, there might be something else each night of the week, and I will be so sick of latkes and sufganiyot. Latkes are fried potato pancakes. Sufganiyot are these jelly donuts, both fried, because that tradition of the oil is you should eat fried, greasy foods. It's a great tradition. But what are the ways in which, in a year in which we can't have these kind of big gatherings, we can still feel that sense of community?
So I think for me and my family, one of the things I've noticed one of the perks of this year and all that's come with it. It's in the Zoom world. We are more willing to reach out to family and friends that we wouldn't on a normal night, so that last year I wouldn't have made sure there was a Zoom call with my brother in one state and my sister in another and my parents in another. We either would have gotten together or we wouldn't have. But now I think that it's become our new tradition already after a few Jewish holidays to make it on Zoom, to make those connections and to have time to celebrate with friends and family from all over the world. And so I think it's special and fun that we get to celebrate with people from all over the world. And that's a normal thing now. I also think this year is the perfect year to focus not just on the celebration of Hanukkah, but really on the meaning. This year of 2020, so much of the conversation, whether it's about Me Too or Black Lives Matter or what's going on in the world, this idea of standing up for someone who is oppressed by a big system of oppression, that has been the conversation of this year. And what a wonderful time to celebrate that and to be having that conversation and spreading light in our world through acts of tzedek, acts of righteousness, by helping out and supporting all of the oppressed minorities in our world and in our country and communities as they fight against those systems of oppression. We and my family are really going to emphasize tzedakah in our Hanukkah this year. I actually love presents. I am an amazing gift giver.
Ooh, it's good to know, Toba.
I am a good gift giver and I love giving gifts. But this year, we're not doing a ton of family gifts. We're doing small things, and we're doing small businesses and local businesses and minority-owned businesses. Amazon has plenty of money. We want to buy our gifts from places that are important to us. And even our little chintzy Hanukkah gifts for our kids are going to be values-based shopping decisions. And then we're giving.
Actually, wait, while we're talking very briefly about gifts, this tradition of gift giving has been amped up in the US. It is a minor part of the holiday. Can you quickly kind of explain why gift giving is part of the holiday at all? And any kind of, yeah.
So I think in truth that gift giving is a part of the holiday because Christmas gifts are a big part of the majority culture where we live. And so in an effort for little kids not to feel bad and to feel special and excited about our own stuff, we have adopted this from the majority culture, which as a Reform rabbi, I think Jews have done, and our religion has adapted and taken on influences from the cultures around it for a long time.
Certainly the Maccabees did.
So I'm not anti-gift. We don't do huge gifts in my family, but we do little things for the kids and have fun with it.
So thank you so much for sharing your Hanukkah thoughts for us. Everyone, Hanukkah starts on Thursday evening. This Thursday, in one more preparation for this, we're going to be talking to Uriah Roth, who is our Shaliach, about Hanukkah in Israel and getting a sense of how the celebration of Hanukkah is different there. Little spoiler alert, Nes Gadol Haya Po. Just hold on to that. And as always, I want to thank our generous sponsor, Robin Cohen, for making all of these museum moments possible. And if you've enjoyed them or any of our museum moments, feel free to hop on over to our website, jewishmuseummilwaukee.org, and you can make a donation there. Thanks so much, Toba, for sharing with us. It is always a pleasure to see and talk to you, and Hag Sameach.
Hag Sameach. Thank you.